Welcome back, everyone. Yes, so let's do the closing of our today's discussion. So yeah, when it comes to our young boys that feel that they are no more going to be the skivvy of a parliamentary leader, right? They are no more going to be the skivvy of the next person. That the office environment has been structured in a way that our personal our personal employment right is that they are not being protected under a legislative law. The right to be, when you are in the office, to not be exposed to the challenges that does not include the office environment, right? So when people find themselves in office, people have decided to walk a journey where they will feel protected, and they've decided to be employed, and they've decided to sit in the office while the world are going through this argument and discussion in such a season and in such a time. Some people have exactly had human communication that at this time in our generation, that this is where our generation was headed, that this is how the argument is going to be in our generation internationally with business owners that wants to restructure the world. And at that time, certain people knew that the world is going to be crazy and chaotic, and they wanted to find themselves in the human communication of it. Not people that doesn't realize and they find themselves in employment. No, people that had the communication that this is going to happen in the year 2022, and this is how the world is going to be restructured. And then they excluded certain people from the office environment, and certain office people now had a good laugh at how the world was restructured and how the argument in the world are going, and how people sometimes in the community find themselves endangered by the discussion and by the argument that is happening. And when our South African teams wanted to restructure, they really wanted to implement the process. And I am speaking an opinion based on my career history, based on my employment, right? Based on where I've been employed at Liberty, at Boland, at all the organizations, right, that you can think of internationally, right? Thank you, Menzies, and the Aviation, Auckland Airport. And for all the teams and all the offices that I've been employed at, and the hotel industries that I've been employed at, the restructuring was meant to be for offices and for businesses to manage hun communities and to fund hun communities, and parliamentary leaders are then would have then been managing the businesses itself in such a way that when the businesses belong, and that's what we want also, and what I have learned based on what happened and based on my career, is when international business owners own businesses, we would have wanted the parliamentary house to manage the process in a way that every community are being provided for. And that's not so difficult to do when you look at all the businesses in countries and you manage every community individually. You would manage them exactly the way you would manage a family and a household. And while parliamentary leaders have not yet had the time to really discuss the process in a way that is non-abusive to our community members sometimes feel that they have the need, when the restructuring happens, to take control into their own hands and to want to manage businesses and to want to own businesses in a way that they want to own it. So if parliamentary leaders and our community leaders can get into that they exactly understand what needs to happen and how businesses should be managed in countries, and they can exactly implement those processes, then it would be no need for young boys to want to find themselves wanting to be employed by a parliamentary leader and wanting to now go and harm young people in the community based on a parliamentary leader that pays salaries out to people that can go and harm certain people, because parliamentary leaders sometimes want to have a process implemented and community leaders are sometimes against the process. And then young boys that require the salary and the financial support then go and then they financially then are supported in a way, and that is really imprisoning a generation. And we really want us to have our generation out of that. There is the imprisonment of our whole generation, that it looks like half of the people are imprisoned and half of the people enjoys a nice job in a nice daily life and have the best, and then other households are then being targeted and then being imprisoned by the whole process. So we want our countries to really think about the restructuring process and how it can be managed in a way that, and it can be really managed in a way that it is non-abusive to the next person, that it is non-abusive to our community, and that is non-abusive to our society in general. And that is where I want us to just leave today's discussion at, and what I want everyone who listens in to listen into, and to work thoroughly through what we discuss, through the points that we discuss, through the points that addresses our generation in our community, and that they really go and implement that is non-abusive and non-depriving to our young boys and to our young women, and that finds themselves challenged by this whole crazy chaotic process. And yeah, so it's not difficult for our governments to manage that in a way that it is fine for everyone. That is what we wanted to discuss today with our HR business restructuring with Ribea, Elise. That is the completion of it. Next Monday, we will really sit and go through today's discussions and really work through what we can do in a structured way and what we can discuss and educate in a more structured way. And that is it for today, everyone. Have an amazing Monday further.